And stop saying, hey guys.
Says the guy who owns a Prado.
Just stop.
You've changed, man.
If you had a magic phone and you could call yourself in the past and give yourself advice, what would that be? Would it be bring a fly net?
I could actually be the most pissed off bloke at the moment.
Or would it be don't drive into that bog hole?
Zero control.
I've got one straight off the top of my head. Hey mate,
Hello? Who's this?
stop bolting to your 79. It weighs more than a Unimog.
7 things as a four-wheel driver I wish I knew when I was younger.
And to make this a bit more entertaining, I'm going to tell myself things that I would never believe in the past. Do not put a car in mud ever again. Don't worry about getting called a because it's not worth it. Mud is You're even going to make a video about this. Solely on mud. Woo! G'day! I actually did that too. Most people who have been around for a while four-wheel driving and have put their vehicle through a few mud holes, they would also hate mud. Mud is the worst thing you can put your vehicle into.
Whoa!
It kills driveline, hoses, rubber seals, it makes things squeak, it kills brakes. Sounds like Chris will be shopping for new brake pads and brake rotors. Puts your balance of your wheels out. If it gets stuck, your whole car stinks. It's not worth it, man.
Zero control.
If you disagree, one day you'll be wishing you had a magic phone. Speaking of which,
Stop spam calling me, man.
stay out of the mud. One of the most expensive bills I've had dealing with mud was out in a Holland track. It was in excess of $5,000 to get my car sorted. Don't do it, man. Trust me. Here's an unbelievable one. In the future, you will sell your 79 series V8 Land Cruiser.
What have I done?
Even though,
You're funny, you know that, right?
no. Don't hang up this time. So after you sold your V8 79 series, you do have a V8 Troopy. No way. But then you also sell that one. No way would I ever do that. There's no more V8s.
Taking my spare parts for granted. Carrying stuff I never took the time to double check.
The line's busy. Gee, I wonder why.
The blocking nut itself was nearly off the stub axle.
Maybe it's because I had spare parts but I didn't have the seals with my bearing kit. Toyota don't sell the bearings with the seals. But we don't have a spare seal. I've got a spare seal at home. Me from the past is too busy calling for spare parts. And that'll save myself from having to ring my mechanic in Perth and then having stuff sent all the way to Esperance and then put on a food truck and then sent up to the air highway and have to get a mate to drive me out, 4.5 hour return to pick up the parts. It's 5:40 a.m. so we've been on the road for over 2 hours and then we got our spare parts and we got back and it was 9 hours later, we fixed it. Or I could have checked my spare parts kit and made sure I had all the components I needed. I mean, I had everything apart from the seals. That was it.
The one thing that's given me the most grief? Getting accessories installed with terrible wiring.
Which brings me to workmanship. Make sure you research the hell out of people who are going to work on your car. Because if you don't, you could end up like most other four-wheel drive owners. You might send it to the bar workshop. You send it somewhere where you're getting a battery installed.
No! No!
Then you get some different spotties somewhere else. You might get someone else to wire up so you can tow a trailer. That's about 5 already. 5 big chances that it's probably going to be a shit job. You really got to be careful. I've been there and I've done that a few times. To the point where I ended up doing my own wiring, which also wasn't the neatest, but it saved me a lot of money. And if something went wrong, I knew exactly where it was. Most people would need to just find someone reliable. Which reminds me, your winch. That's caught me out a few times too. Lesson number 1. Before you go anywhere, always check that your winch works. So we'll be right back. Twice, I've gone to use my winch. No. This is bullshit, eh? Winch doesn't work again. New isolator. 3 times I've gone to use my winch. Hey, you know, after they installed that bar at, they didn't hook the earth up to your winch. I know you haven't checked it, so you might want to check that. So even though you might get recommended somewhere, just it pays to do research. Maybe ask if you could see what they've done to a car that's getting something done similar. Have they zip tied it? Have they used corrugated tubing? Does it look neat? If it looks messy, probably walk.
Some news that I would likely appreciate to know back in time.
Hello? Hey, you know those tyre repair kits you've been carrying around, you've been lugging around?
These are the basic tools that you'll get.
You're going to end up making your own out of all different bits and pieces. Then you're going to need your own bag for it, and you're going to design your own later.
My comprehensive tyre repair kit.
So don't waste your time on all the other kits that don't have everything in it. You get what I'm saying?
That's the first bit of sense you've spoken, mate.
The Four Wheeling Australia tyre repair kit. 20 years experience in one bag. Lots of stuff in the bag. That's why we're generous in these kits, because we know that when shit happens, it could take sometimes 19 plugs. Do I need to unravel it for you? By the way, in future, Toyota are releasing a 70 series with a 4-cylinder engine with an automatic gearbox, a 6-speed, and it's a 2.8. 4-cylinder auto? Get Well, it's not out yet in your time, because the Hilux still has the 3-litre. The Hilux actually goes to the 2.8, and so does the Prado. The 70 series has the same engine as the Prado. You're full of shit, mate. Nah. But here's the catch. You end up buying one. I bought a 2.8 litre automatic Land Cruiser 70 series. And you still have it. If anyone ever came up to me and said, have you done a fire drill in your car? I probably would have laughed and gone, sounds a bit silly. Why would I do that? Well, not until I did this spontaneously have I realised how important that actually is. I should have done a long time ago.
Don't muck around.
The fire drill. I know it sounds ridiculous, right? When I saw a burnt out Ranger, I decided to sit in it and I was thinking about things. What's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you would grab out of the car? And I put that into practice. I'm going to sit in the vehicle. I'm going to switch it on so I can't hear these two gentlemen discussing, and they're going to choose where the fire is on the vehicle, and I'm going to do the best I can within however many seconds they give me to get out whatever I can get out. And the result was very surprising.
So Ronny doesn't know where the fire has started. We want to go with the going.
Hey, hey, hey! Your boat wing is getting on fire! Come on! Hurry, hurry, hurry! Hey, hurry! Yes! Turn it to the roof, Mike!
It's on the roof, man. It's on the roof. Ronny, grab something.
Yeah.
Grab anything. The car's about to go up, guys. Don't muck around. No, it's into the back. It's in the back now, the fire. The fire's in the back.
That's it.
What have you got out, Ronny?
2.5 litres of drinking water, 15 litres of other water, some food, Sienna's phone, first aid kit, toilet paper, woo! Snakebite kit. You know what I didn't grab? The PLB. That's because it's in the centre, right deep down in my centre console, so I'm going to move that. It was a fail. These two are a major fail, not having somewhere easy to grab. But all that stuff there, I'm pretty happy with that. Speaking of fires... Uh-oh.
My fire extinguisher. Where was that located? I left it in the workshop at home.
Next time you're on the track, call one on the spot on your mate. Get this one. You end up buying a shopping trolley. Hang on. I bought a shopping trolley? No. Yes, you buy a Prado. You didn't. This is becoming sad. Yeah, I still got balls. At least one. At the beginning, I asked you a question. What would you say to yourself with your magic phone? Well, you've had some time to think about it now, so tell us down below, because this could help someone else out. Heck, it might even help me out. Now, if I could actually talk to myself right now, I would be saying something like, we're in 2025, we have satellite connection all over the globe, so we could head out to the middle of nowhere and have internet connection. And I put my headphones on because I'm about to do a podcast. I never thought I'd see the day where I'd do that. And that's thanks to having satellite internet connection. Yet, we can't predict the weather still.
No idea what the weather's going to be. Could be a nice sunny day, or could be a cyclone.
That's a front that's apparently hitting the northwest.
Heading out bush, it may say it's all clear, you just don't know. Heat waves, Freak thunderstorms, they can come out of nowhere. So we made a decision to pack up 70 kilometres away where there might be a weather station. They wouldn't even know about it. That's how unpredictable the weather is. Heading out to the Simpson Desert, there was predicted a bit of drizzle.
This just in, it's bucketing down with rain.
And that turned into over 24 hours of just rain. We nearly got stuck there for a very long time. So the point here is, if there is some predicted weather and it's bad, don't even go there. If it's light, prepare yourself for a 50-50. It's the time that you are not prepared for it, it's going to catch you out. In future, buy a vehicle that is not a Toyota.
Huh? I bought a Quartermaster. Ineos, Grenadier, Trollmaster, Quartermaster. Where's the other 3 quarters?
It's called an Ineos Grenadier. No. Ineos Grenadier. Quartermaster. Queen size? Trollmaster. How many freaking names does this thing have? Yeah, it has all those names. It's an Ineos Grenadier, Quartermaster, Trollmaster. What does it even look like? Often when we modify vehicles, we forget what it's like having a stock vehicle. Let's say you've been driving a vehicle that's been heavily modified for the past 5 years. You often forget how capable a stock vehicle is until we get back into it. Today's plan is to keep the vehicle in one piece. It's always a plan, really. If you are buying another car, there are so many people, before they even take it out on a trip, it's got everything on it, before they've even driven it. So what I will say here, take that stock car out to the bush and give it a good test run first. What happened? Maybe don't go as hard as that, but figure out where the limitations of the vehicle is. This thing is lacking so much clearance. And then spend your hard-earned money on those areas first. Immediate changes that need to happen. Rock sliders. And then sort out the rest later. Because what you might have to do now could change what you're doing later. I know it's not going to listen to a single thing I've said. This is my final advice. Please, for the sake of just everyone, stop saying, please like and subscribe. And stop saying, hey guys.
Says the guy who owns a Prado.
Just stop.
You've changed, man.
See? Not even listening.
Please like and subscribe to Ronnie's channel. Hi.
This one, you definitely 100% need to be sitting down for. GTA 6 is still not out and it's 2025. You getting that? Hello?